Hello and welcome back to my craft room. I'm going to be doing a bit more work on my underwater world textile collage today. I've had another little email from Viviana, who inspired this whole project in the first place, showing where she's up to with her large scale underwater collage that she's working on at the moment, and give me a close-up of how she does her fish's tails that I want to try. So I'm going to do that today, or at least make a start on it. And also she's showing how she's pinned in place a shoal of fish, and it's just that I did want to do a shoal of fish here somewhere, and it just made me think, it's just inspired me to get started on that. So let me show you the first of all the pictures that Viviana sent me this time. She's so clever. I always say she stitches with it. She was a painter before she discovered stitching, and she definitely stitches with a painter's eye for sure. Here we go. How beautiful is this? It's by no means finished. You can see, if I can zoom in, hang on. You can see, if I zoom in there, you can see that these fish in this shoal are all just pinned on at the moment. So she'll have a lot of work stitching, and anybody who's been following along this project with me will know how much work is involved in these. I can see she started, there are some sequins on some of these, and some markings have started to be stitched on, but I can see she's got a lot of work still to do. I love all the different shades. She's used batik prints by the look of it there. Love all the different shades she's used. And the brighter ones are on the top to make them look make them stand out and look nearer to you. And it's exactly the same shape she's used over and over again, a simple fish shape. I'm going to use one of the ones from the free templates, which I'll link in the description box. But yeah, you could just draw a simple fish shape, and just that repetition. I love the way that it really gives a sense of their movement through the water. Love that. And then also in this piece is one of these gorgeous fishes with this layered tail effect that I want to try. And you can see here, I'm going to zoom in even more. You can see that Viviana uses lots of different scraps. I know she's a fan of bizarre scrap bundles, as am I. And I can see that she's used lots of little bizarre scraps here, and you can use the tiniest little scraps. You can see here they're all just layered together. There's several different fabrics here just in the body and fins of the fish, and then all the lovely embroidery. It's just gorgeous. And then this tail, so she sent me a close-up of the tail as well. Love the stitching here. Love that spiral stitching over there. Yeah, I just think that's gorgeous. So I'm gonna keeping all this in mind. Isn't it beautiful? I've still got the lobster to do. We've got the template for the lobster is already there. I haven't started on it myself yet. Isn't it gorgeous? Here is a close-up of how she does the tail. I think she said she used 5 layers of fabric here. So she cut them all to the shape of the tail. Then did lines of stitching, lots of lines of stitching. You could see she's hand stitched them there. You could machine stitch them. And then she cut through. She didn't cut through that bottom layer. She left that intact. But she then cut all of the other layers into strips. And the strips, she says, are smaller at the top, slightly larger at the bottom, like stepped. So you get this gorgeous effect. And then she's wrinkled them up here and there and added beads and things and sequins to give all that texture and movement. I just think that is beautiful. And you can see again, she's not finished yet. She's just got that pinned in place at the moment. And she's had to put it on hold for Christmas projects. It's a very busy time of the year where she lives in Florida, and she's got her work in different galleries and things as well. She's a very, very busy lady. I've got a pile of fabrics to go through here to decide what I'm going to use. I'm going to be working with my bizarre scrap bundles mostly today. I've got some other lovely bits and pieces. I've got all sorts of things that people have sent me as well. They're all going to get piled into this project, and I'm going to have a lovely time with them. But what you'll see me using today mostly is going to be scraps, different kinds of scraps from the bizarre scrap bundles. So when I first started having bizarre scrap bundles, it was just the one kind of bundle. Now they've expanded. You can get brocade, you can get cantha stitch silks, cantha stitch cottons, you can get texture bundles. They do all sorts of things now, all different price points, and they do sell all over the world now. So let's have a look at where I'm at. I still haven't done that much more on it. I'm going to be weeks, months doing this project. I'm not going to stress out about it. I think I need to pull out a little bit so I can try and show you all of this. My finished project is going to be kind of in a book format. It will fold up like this with a cover wrapped around it. It'll be a very lumpy book though, obviously. It's quite dimensional, and it'll open out like this. The pages will be attached. I know I've explained this before, but just in case someone is just jumping in now, the pages will all be worked like this, folded together like that, and attached together here. This will become the spine, so they can easily be detached, and the whole thing can be viewed as a long continuous frieze, which will tell a story, which yes, has a bit of a dark ending, because I want to make a point about how pollution and climate change are affecting our oceans. But I'm hoping it'll end on a positive note, because it's not too late for us to change things, and because of the way the book will work, it'll come back full circle and it can all come to life again. It'll end up with the last page is going to be quite dark, and the beautiful colourful coral reef will be all white and grey because it's dying, because that's they go, yeah, it's, oh, look up pictures of dying coral reefs, it's really sad. But yeah, then it'll come back round and go into colour again. I've got lots more to add to this. I know it's probably a bit overkill already, but I've got lots and lots more things I want to add into this, layers and layers of texture and colour. So if you've not seen any of this project before, I've done templates. There's a Freebie Fish template, which is what I'm going to be using today. You can get this from my Gumroad shop. There'll be links in the description box. All of the templates, my son Tom helped me do them. I did the drawings and then he helped make them nice and tidy for a pattern, for a template. And he has, with all of them, he's done this option where if you want to print them out a bit bigger, you can print them on 2 A4 sheets. That would be letter paper, would be the nearest in America, like most of us have on our home printers, and tape them together. Here's the octopus that I've taped together to get the size octopus that I've used. Here's Nautilus. Here's the Seahorse. There's the octopus. There's the octopus printed just normal A4 size or letter size. But yeah, if you want it bigger, there are 2 options. You can either take it to your local printer and get it printed A3, or you can print it on 2 smaller sheets and tape together. We've all 3 options are there for all of the templates. Nautilus I will be coming to, Lobster I will be coming to, and I've still got the turtle template to do. If you've already bought the Underwater World templates or got it free because you're a channel member, then you'll get those updates automatically. You'll get a notification through an automatic email from Gumroad, or you can sign into your Gumroad account, go to your Gumroad library, and it'll be there automatically for you. So yeah, don't go buying them again when the turtle cut gets added. I'm not actually going to be using this page today. I've just sort of put it there just to give you an idea of how it's all looking if you've not been in before. Still got lots more of this kind of thing I want to do on my octopus. I want to try some more of this what's it called, stump work, some more of this punto enaria, and yeah, various different things I want to try. Lots of different stitches to experiment with. Yeah, it's a lovely kind of playground for trying all kinds of different stitches and using up all kinds of scraps and things. This is the page I started working on last time, and my Trapunto stuffed seahorse. Started doing some work here. Oh no, I think the last time I was working on my seahorse. What's this called? Starfish. Interestingly, I won't bang on about it now because I think I did that in the last video. A seahorse is in fact a fish, whereas a starfish is not a fish. But what I decided to do, this is done with needle felting and beading this time, and sequins. I decided I wanted to make a 3-dimensional starfish. So this is using the Freebie template, but of course, you know, you could just easily draw one yourself. But what Tom and I were fascinated with was the underside of the starfish and the huge variety of textures and colours. So I decided to make a three-dimensional kind of complete starfish that I can attach perhaps by two of his limbs here, so that it can be lifted up and then you can see the underside. Because I just was fascinated with the look of the underside, and this is all filled with little drizzle stitches, which is a stitch I've learned in the course of this project. People kindly telling me that that's what it was, because Betty, bless her, in the States sent me some gorgeous things, including 3 of these. One of them's already gone on here. Just added it there as a little cluster in my coral reef. And today, I might start it today. It might be a bit of a tall order for today. I would like to try adding it to the top of a sea anemone. I think that would be really cute. That might end up being next time. It's also just occurred to me that it could. I made this last time as well. It would look quite cute on there, wouldn't it? That would be quite nice. We are getting very, very super lumpy now. Quite like that, I must say. I quite like that. Anyway, those to one side for a minute. I suppose that could stay for a minute, because I'm gonna build up the background a little bit. So the next thing is to decide what fabrics I want to use for my shoaler fish, and what fabrics I'm going to use for my fish with the fancy tail. Oh, I've had a good rifle through my huge collection of bizarre fabrics. Actually, let's put them out of the way before they get scooped up in fabric and lost. So this is a bit random what I've got here, but it's probably a fairly typical, gives you a good idea of the kind of thing you get in a bizarre scrap bundle. A whole mixture of different things and different textures. This would be a nice one to use for the body of a sea anemone, wouldn't it? Roll up the fabric like that. That could be really nice. Yeah, I might have to do some of that later. I can use some of the really tiny scraps that I keep for these fish. I don't need to use big pieces. Yeah, all sorts. That would be nice as well. I like the idea of that bit of texture. I love this because I love the front. I do love the front of it, but I also love the back. Look at that. It doesn't look quite as vibrant on camera as it does in person, but I really love the idea of using some of this somehow as frondage in my underwater scene. I think that would be cool. There's loads of it. I mean, I suppose because that's, yeah, I could just cut these beautiful silky threads off and just use them, couldn't I? And still have the fabric intact. Yeah, it doesn't have to be attached to this. That's what I might do, is go through and cut these off and use bundles of these to create lovely wafty fronds. Yeah, definitely. But that's something I can do in front of the telly. I don't need to do that with you now. I'm going to try and stay on track for what I planned for this video. Make a nice change, wouldn't it? These are from some of the beautiful brocade packs. I'm not going to need all this, but I just want to have a mixture to pull from. I mean, obviously this would be a giant shoaler fish. Let's just have some different... Oh no, I can't use that one. I've got to keep that for special. Oh, this one's actually quite yellowy looking. This one in this kind of very pale green colour. You can see, so this is, you can see where this is cut from a garment. So all of the bizarre scrap bundles are rescued textiles, I think of them as, from the rescued scraps, mostly scraps of fabric, but also trims and buttons and beads and things like that as well, all rescued from the Indian textile industry. There's a huge problem in the textile industry with waste. So yeah, we're doing our little bit to help. Now, I'm just thinking, because this is quite a dull flat colour compared to everything else, and this would be lovely to use when I get to the point where I'm showing the dying coral reef. So I'm going to put that to one side for later. And then I've got 2 Cantha stitch bundles, which is another kind of new bundle they're doing. So this is the cotton canter stitched, and I was thinking that some of the canter stitched pieces, because I struggle with, I love them, I love the texture, I love the look of them, I love that you've got several layers, sometimes as many as 6 layers in some of these pieces. Usually it's 3 or 4 layers of fine fabric, cotton. This is cotton, so you can split them up and use them, but I love the 2 different sides of them. I love the soft, gorgeous texture of them, but where I struggle is having to decide which side to use. So I thought I could use some of these pieces. It could be pieces of seaweed and things that you will see both sides of, or things that, you know, so that they look like rocks or whatever, that you can pick up and look behind and there's a message behind, so you see both sides. So that's where I thought some of that would be a lovely way to use some of this canter stitched stuff. And then there's they also do the silk canter stitched bundles, and this is one of the bundles, and this is what I'm thinking for the fish's tail, because it's got that lovely sheen to it. Oh God, I do love it. And look at these colours, and I'm thinking these all layered together, this would be a lovely way to show off these pieces and make the most of their reversible quality. Look at it. It's so, I wish you could feel it. I wish you could feel it. How often have I said that recently? I wish I had feely vision. So I think what I'm going to do is stop recording for a minute, get myself organised, decide which fabrics I'm going to use, get my template ready, and I'm going to need my little iron, and I'm going to use some iron on, let me see if I can find it. I have to dig that out. Oh, this is something else I put to one side. I bought a huge plaited string of garlic bulbs, and they came in this. And I did think, oh, that'll be good later on, possibly to, it might be really useful in things like jellyfish and what have you, but also to show creatures being trapped in plastic netting and things. So yeah, I've kept that to one side. Yeah, I've got some very lightweight iron-on interfacing, which is really helpful when you're working with fabrics like these that tend to fray out and be a little bit difficult to control. Some of the silks as well, not this so much. This is fairly sturdy because it's several layers and stitched together, but the normal silk, like, you know, like these sari bags are made of. All of their packs come in these gorgeous sari bags. I will leave a link to Bazaar, by the way. I keep going on about Bazaar. I always leave a link when I'm using their things. So yeah, I'm going to get myself organised. I'll be back in a mo. I think I'll concentrate on the fish and not try and do too much in one video. I've already been going on way too long. Okay, I've finished rummaging. These are the pieces I've decided on for my larger fish with the fancy tail. I've got some odd little scraps here to add bits of colour and sparkle. Little scraps I've been saving. And then I've picked out these colours from the stash of silk canter stitched pieces. Obviously I won't need anything like all of them, and mostly these will be used for the tail, but I'll pick 1 or 2 pieces for the body and carry through into the tail. So that's the idea with that. And then I dug that. I was going through my scraps again and found this piece. I love this fabric, another one I've had a few times in the scrap bundles, and I want to make, I have an idea about making kind of vague rock looking shapes or coral looking pieces that have like a little pocket in them that a fish can be kind of going into to tempt people to pull it out and have a look, and there'll be a message on it. That's the kind of thing that things that you lift up and there's a message underneath. I've got this vague idea in my head about doing stuff like that, but yeah, so I've put that there so I don't forget to do that. I'm in the mood for doing a lot of work on this weekend. Been mostly evening stitching has been bonkers quilt at the moment, but yeah, I try and alternate, keep it interesting for myself so I don't get fed up. I had another look in the brocade bag and found some other pieces. I love these kind of coppery colour pieces, and I think it would be nice to use them to differentiate between the kind of the fins and tails and the body of the fish. So I think the fins and tails will be with this kind of stuff, and then I pulled out the brocades because there were so many different designs to choose from, and these are huge pieces. I don't need anything like all of them, but I pulled out the ones that kind of already have an almost fishy kind of shape in them. So yeah, there was a whole lot of different ones I got in that pack. They've all got these kind of vaguely oval kind of leaf shapes in them, so I thought they'd be ideal. But I'm just going to take a little piece of each of them and put some of the lightweight iron-on interfacing on them first, just to make them a bit easier to work with. I've decided which fish I'm going to use off the template, so I'm going to go for this little dinky one here. Keep it nice and simple. I do love the idea of having a shoal of fish where you're seeing them from the top, or also it's nice to have the old ones looking forwards, which is why I did those. Yeah, I've just picked on this one. They won't look exactly like that, but. And then for the large one, I'm going to roughly use this, but I'm going to extend the tail out a bit for my fancy tail. But yeah, that will just give me a rough starting point anyway. Yeah, I've been sometimes I've been using this iron-on interfacing, and sometimes I've been using the light sewable heat and bond, which is really good for really detailed things where you want really precise placement. I used it for the Seahorse, for example. I don't think I need it for this, and it is more expensive, so and not as easy to stitch through either. It's not difficult to stitch through, but not quite as easy. So I'm going to stick with the iron-on interfacing for this, so I need a dry iron. I was a bit worried about using a reasonably hot iron on these metallic-y fabrics, but they seem to be fine, and I'm kind of telling myself if they go a little bit puckery or whatever, I'm not going to worry, it'll be fine for this project. I think first thing is to put some of the iron-on interfacing on the back of these pieces, but I think I'll draw the shape of the fish first. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Okay, so what I'll do is trace this off a few times onto the smooth side. So this iron-on interfacing has got a smooth side and a rough side. The rough side is the side with the glue. You want that side to be down on the back of your fabric. Don't put it upwards or you ruin your iron. I'm not going to use a heat erasable pen, otherwise as soon as I iron it, it will disappear. And what I'm going to do is trace off use a 5B pencil, I think that'll work. I'm going to trace off just the body shape. I'm not being too careful, you can see that. Whatever number of times. I'll go for 21. Let's go for 21. I don't know why 21 popped into my head, but there we are. So I'm going to do just the body shape 21 times, and then I'm also going to do the entire shape including the fin and tail, because my plan is that I will cut the fin and tail out of the contrasting fabric and then just the body out of the more goldeny fabric, and I'll put that over the top. So I'll need, for each fish that I want, I'm going to have to do both of these, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll be back in a mo. Right, I've decided that I think that added up to 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. I decided that was enough to make a shoal for the size of page that I'm working on. So I stopped there, and I've done the 13 body shapes as well. Yep. and I'm trying to make the most of the fabric that I've got, so I can't just sort of put them on in one block and then cut round them like that, because I need to use every scrap of fabric, so I'm going to have to cut them apart a little bit. I've decided to go with that side because that's got more of the copperiness. Whether or not it's meant to be the right side, I don't know. It's kind of reversible really, but yeah, I'm going to go with that side as being the right side. So I need to iron this on the wrong side. I need to make sure that the rough side, the gluey side, goes down onto the back of the fabric. I'm leaving a bit of a border. I'm not cutting this out exactly, I'm just leaving a bit of a border. I won't cut it until it's been ironed onto the fabric. Ouch! So yeah, I'll put it like that. I've got hot iron, or as hot as I dare with this fabric. And it's dry, no steam. And that is probably enough. Let's just check. Yeah, that's not lifting up anywhere. And yeah, I was quite nervous the first time I did that with this type of fabric, but it doesn't seem to have done it any harm. So then once I've done that, I can cut it out. I tend to use my second best fabric scissors when I'm cutting anything like wadding or interfacing. I'm going to cut it sort of generously on the outside of the line, because previous experience I found that I've cut the pieces a little bit small. You can see that where this kind of silky fabric can be quite tricky to manage. It frays a lot, it moves around a lot, you know, it warps itself. Once you've got this stuff on it, it's lightweight enough that it doesn't really change the fundamental kind of nature of the fabric, and it's still very, very easy to stitch, so you don't even notice it's there. But it does firm up the edge. That's not, you can see how easily the edges fray usually. But with this on it, it will still a bit, but it's much, much less likely to fray, and it's just more stable. It doesn't wobble about. I just find it much easier to manage, and this stuff is really, really inexpensive to buy. So yeah, so I'm going to cut out 13 of these whole body ones out of these two kind of coppery colours, and then 13 of the just body parts out of these, a selection of these brocade patterns, and then I'm going to start putting them together, and I think I'm going to put these together directly on the background this time. Right, I'm doing pretty well here. I've cut out all the pieces, and I'm now just using a little dab of Pritt stick on each one, just to kind of tack them together while I work with them. I think that's going to be enough to make a shoal, a shoal of fish on my page. Can't get this one to fit. And then I'll do a little overstitch all around each one, and add the little details. So I'll go back to the original template, which is this one, and just add the details, just use that to add the details. I'll probably just use a sequin for the eyes. I might cut an extra little piece, so all the little odds and ends like this, where I've got a little bit of the backing on there, I'll probably use them up to make the little fins, something like that. So yeah, that will be something I will quietly work on by myself in the evenings, and embellish away to my heart's content. I know that will potentially take quite a long time, so I'm not going to sit and do that now. I'm going to make a start on my fish now. So this fish, I'm going to use this big one and make the tail even bigger. None of these pencil lines are going to show at the end, so I'm not worrying about them. So the tail, I'm actually going to make there be a bit more of it. So I'm sort of following the beginning of the line, but then I'm coming out a bit more. There we go. and these are the lines that I will stitch along and then snip between. Now I'm going to use this is quite a stiff tracing paper I'm using here. I think that will be useful, and I'm going to trace out the tail shape, and I'm going to be cutting this several times out of the Cantha silk. Now I don't need to make that fit there exactly because the body could go over the top of it. I think that would be a neater thing, so let's just carry it up there a bit, and I'll cut the tail that sort of shape and overlap the body. And I'm going to do another one of just breaking down these various shapes. And then the fin, I'm going to make that bigger because again that can overlap underneath, or underlap rather, the body. And I'll just use these pieces as a guide when I'm cutting the various bits of fabric I'm going to patch together to make this fish. Some of the time I won't even need it, I'll just eyeball it, you know. But yeah, let's label these just in case. Bottom fin, top fin, face, body, tail, it's obvious. Okay. What Viviana does is once she's put her piece in the frame, she actually outline stitches all of her fish before she starts. I'm not sure if I'm going to bother to do that. I think I might rather get the pieces tacked on and then outline stitch around them, because my outline almost certainly would change because I'm not that accurate. So I think I can get this into the frame now, and then start cutting my other pieces. So I'll be back in a moment when I'm all set up. Okay, I'm all set up in my frame. I put the fish in diagonally to give me a little bit more space. I think what I'm going to do is use this one as the kind of, oops, hang on, this one is the main base of the body because it's got this lovely silvery fishy look to that, to the main fabric on that side, and it's got this colour on the other side. So I'm going to do the whole body and tail, I think, in that to start with. Then I'll do another layer of this over the tail, just the tail part, and then I've got 4 other colours. 1, 2, this one's got the pink, 3, hang on, is it 4 other colours for a minute? So I want 5 altogether. 1, oh yeah, another layer of this, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, so 3 other colours. They'll all be cut. You'll see the other side of them in the tail as well. And then I've got these other bits and bobs to layer over the top. And the face, I haven't quite decided whether I'll cut the face piece separately or just use embroidery to change the face. At the moment I'm just going to cut the whole body shape out of this first. So let's just cut the pieces out first. Make best use of my fabric. Waste not, want not. I always say with these bizarre scrap bundles, because all the pieces have been rescued, the whole point is to save them from being wasted. I feel like it's my duty not to waste a single scrap. So even the very tiniest bits will end up in my Orts jar. I used to stuff something with at the very least. Keep that little bit of tracing paper. I might need that for a fin or something. That's just not throw that away yet. I can get the body out of that section and I can get the tail out of this section. So I'll just cut those. Then I'm going to cut the tail again out of those other 3 pieces, and once more out of this. Yes, I've got to get it twice out of this, haven't I? I mustn't forget that. Just going to cut them out, back in a minute. Right, I've got all my pieces cut now. I think I'm just going to do my glue stick tacking to start off with. Let's put the tail pieces down first. So this is the bottom layer. Don't want too much glue because I don't want to be stitching through it and being all sticky, but just enough to tack it. There you go. So that's the tail. Then we got the body, and I might end up padding the body out slightly when I apply the piece to the background. Yeah, it's a bit, the tail is thicker than the body at the moment, but the body would be the part that I would pad out later, so I'm not going to worry about that. This is the face. How does that go? Like that. I've made that the same pattern as this. It looks all a bit odd at the moment, but I think it'll be alright once I've got all my embroidery and things and sequins and extra scraps of fabric and things. I might end up having to make it double-sided so that this can stand proud of the... But that'll be a later stage. At the moment, let's get it tacked down. And then I've got a few torn scraps as well. I did have a bit of gold. I was going to put some of this. I've decided it was too much. Then I tore just a tiny bit of it, but I don't like that either. Maybe it'd be better to do some stripes that way afterwards, because a lot of fish do have stripes going that way, don't they? Yeah, I might do that. That'll be for later. And even tiny little, like here, the fibres that come off of this, these little fibres like this, they could look really nice too. Maybe again for stripes going the other way. You can just use these tiny scraps. There. So now I need to get that tacked down, all the pieces sort of roughly tacked on, and then do a sort of whip stitch around all of the edges, an outline stitch of some kind to tidy it up, and then I can start really having fun. So the most exciting, I will enjoy making the face and adding sequins and what have you. It looks really weird at the moment actually. It's better in real life than it does on the screen, but this is just a basis. I think the part I'm most looking forward to is adding the lines of stitching onto here and then cutting in between them and fluffing all the edges up to see all these different colours, and then adding beads in between and things. So yeah, I'm gonna do a bit of stitching. I probably won't get all of this done in this session, but so yeah, I'm gonna get these pieces stitched on now, and when I come to do the exciting tail part, I'll come back because it's not very exciting at the moment. Okay, it's dark outside now and I've got to stop and go and get dinner ready, but I just wanted to do one little bit of cutting his tail before I stop for today. You can see my fish is actually looking quite dull really, not very colourful at all yet, but I will add more colour with stitching and sequins and beads and even more little bits of fabric possibly as I go along. So, but I just wanted to try a little bit of, and I haven't got my lovely little sharp pointy scissors here because they're downstairs. I think these will do it. So I'm going to cut between the lines, but just leave the base one, the very bottom layer, I'm leaving that untouched. I just couldn't wait to see this. And what Viviana does is she cuts the upper layers progressively kind of shorter, sort of steps them. I'm going to see, it might be that because this is all silk that I don't even need to do that I can just fluff them up and that'll be enough. So I'll just reserve judgment on that until I've, yeah, can't quite decide. I'm gonna have to do quite a bit of tweaking and manipulating to make sure you can see all the different colours. I will do as Viviana has done and stitch little coordinating beads in between the layers as well. which will help to make them go in the direction I want them to. Yeah, I just thought I'll share this exciting moment of snipping through these layers with you because it's very satisfying. Granny Sue sent me a lovely little sharp pair of scissors which would be perfect for this, but they're downstairs with the bonkers quilt stuff. Oh, I do love that effect. Yeah, I think I will trim back the upper layers just that little bit more, and I might even use my iron to just encourage some of the layers in the direction I want them to go, because I want flashes of that pink to come out. I think because of the nature of the silk, I'm going to get those lovely little fringy edges really easily. Yeah, so a lot more work to do on that yet, to manipulate that to make it how I want it to be, but I think you can already see it's going to be a really fun effect. Yeah, I'll just take my time. I will go and get those sharp scissors and just carefully cut back these layers. Add some beads in here and there. I think that's going to be lovely, and yeah, then start working on this. One of the things I still need to do, because I just sort of just did a sort of overstitch, just like a web stitch around all of the edges, so I will go around with a chain stitch and define all of the edges before I do too much more work on this. What can I do for my thumbnail? Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to see if I can find some action shot from earlier in the video for my thumbnail this time, because that doesn't look very exciting, does it? But it will be. We can see where it's going to go. Okay, so that's it for me for now. You can see it's dark outside. It's really high time I stopped for the day. Yet again, I've had a lovely afternoon doing this. I love this project, and I love seeing what everyone else is doing it as well. So please keep sharing those pictures of your projects inspired by this. I'll put links to Facebook group and the Discord community that are free to join. I'll put a link to my Gumroad where you can get the Underwater World template set. It's a couple of pounds. If you're a channel member, it's free, otherwise it's a couple of pounds. And the fish one that I've been using today and the starfish one are free anyway. So that's it for me today. Thanks very much for joining me, and I will see you again really soon. Bye. Dinner calls.